This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Carter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, May the 10th, 1970, Bobby Orr got his flying goal. Everyone knows that. However, because I covered it in a few other Bobby Orr videos, technically it's disqualified. I don't like to do that, but bear in mind there was something much better. Yes, I know you probably saw the Bobby Orr, hearing about Bobby Orr and then see Guy Lafleur. Well, there's a reason for that. Because 9 years later, the Bruins were involved in another massive Stanley Cup playoff game. Not a finals game, a semifinals game. The 1979 season was tumultuous for the Boston Bruins. If you read Don Cherry's book, Autobiography Greats, the 1983 book, you would know all about his times up and down the minor leagues. He was a career minor leaguer, only playing one game for Boston, and that was in the playoffs and all that. But, his minor league time, he even spent time in Kitchener. Bet you didn't know that. Yes, he did. So anyway, Grapes was head coach of the Boston Bruins in 75 after Beb Gidelin couldn't help him out. So basically, yeah, he coached the Bruins. Harry Sinden had confidence in him. Even though the Bruins didn't do that well in his first year of coaching and he had playoff meltdown, he basically told Sinden that he felt bad and he said that if Sinden wanted to get rid of him, he with no regrets. But Sinden stood by Cherry and said, basically, you're my coach. One bad year isn't gonna hurt things. And then Don Cherry got to work and got the lunch pail game working and was named the Jack Adams winner in '77. So anyway, Don Cherry had a good time, but if you read Grapes, basically Don Cherry's relationship with Sinden was deteriorating hard. But Boston still is a very flashy team. They picked up a couple of former Rangers in Brad Park and Jean Rattel in that famous 1975 trade that sent New York's way Phyllis Bosito and Carol Fadney. And oh yes, this guy by the name of Joe Saducci. Anyway, the Bruins were doing decently. They got to the Final Four. They would take on the Montreal Canadiens, who were fresh off a massive sweep of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, Toronto really sucked in '79, all that, and had to win a best of three against the Atlanta Flames. Yes, the Atlanta Flames before they moved to Calgary in '81. But something, it was hard pressed. I mean, it was hard to realize how the Leafs were. Unfortunately, Montreal swept them. Although, in the Leafs' defense, it took Montreal double overtime in game 3 and overtime in game 4 to get rid of the Leafs. Goals by Cam Connor and Kitchener's Larry Robinson. Yeah, former Kitchener Ranger Larry Robinson sunk the Leafs. So anyway, the Habs and Bruins would play. And strange as it sounds, even though Jerry Cheevers was a good goalie still for Boston, even though he had that sojourn in the WHA, his backup, Gilles Gilbert, number 1 in your programs for Boston, actually was great against Montreal. They won. I can't remember who scored that famous overtime goal. Was it Schmaltz or Middleton? Someone scored a famous goal in the '79 semifinals to tie the series at 2. Anyway, long story short, it's game 7. Habs and Bruins. The winner would face the New York Rangers, who a couple days prior took care of the New York Islanders in a shocking 6-game series because the Islanders were epitomized as one of the best teams around. They were crap as an expansion team, but they built through the draft and all that. They didn't go through the trading system. Although, to be fair, in 1980, when they won the Cup for the first time, they did use a massive trade to get Butch Goring from the Kings. But anyway, yeah, the Rangers shocked the Islanders. So then the Rangers would have to deal with the Bruins or the Habs. It would be an original 6 final in 1979, no matter what. In fact, no matter what, it was what people didn't realize that it was the last original 6 final for 34 years, and I kid you not. 2013 was the next time an original Stanley Cup Finals had original 16. 2 original 6 teams in it. Chicago beating Boston. But 93 could have been so much different. I'll have to figure out. Is it the 25th or 26th that the Leafs got screwed over? I don't know. I'll have to find out. But anyway, yeah. But anyway, Montreal still had some firepower and all that. They had some good young veterans and rookies and all that. Cam Connor was a decent guy. Mark Napier, they're on the juggernaut Cavs. Ken Dryden was still in net. So anyway, Game 7 started out poorly for Montreal. They were down 2-0. They tied it at 2, and then Boston made it 3-2. Was it Middleton who scored? I can't remember. I think it was Middleton. Yeah, Rick Middleton was having a great game against the Habitants. And so it was 3-2. I'm going to take a look at the Grapes book because I know that first chapter was about the 1979 Game 7 loss. So anyway. Yeah. Yeah, they were up 3-1 after 2 periods. It was amazing. And Don Cherry used Don Marcotte to shadow Guy Lafleur. So anyway, the Habs put up 2 goals to make it 3-3. However, Guy Lapointe got hurt. And then Rick Middleton, yes, Middleton with 4 minutes left made it 4-3. And it was amazing. And so the Bruins had a chance to shock the Habs and get revenge for those Stanley Cup final losses in 77 and 78. Unfortunately, that happened. A too many men on the ice call that sunk the Boston Bruins. It was not fair, but unfortunately there was a bad line change. The referee saw it, and basically Boston was in for it. They had to stop Lafleur. They had to stop the power play, and they almost did. By Guy Lafleur, with about 90 seconds left in the third period, struck down the right laneway and basically slapped a past Gilbert to tie the game at 4. Boston had 2 or 3 chances in overtime. They flubbed it. And then little known Yvon Lambert for Mario Tremblay. Yes, that Mario Tremblay. Scored the biggest Game 7 goal of his life. And biggest goal of his life, I guess. And he basically said, for 24 hours, I'm more famous than Guy Lafleur. So yeah, Yvon Lambert was the hero of that series, sinking the Bruins and getting Montreal to the Stanley Cup Finals, where they would have a little bit of issue. They lost Game 1 to the Rangers, shockingly, and Dryden was yanked in the third period for Bunny LaRock. And rumors were circulating that LaRock would have been starting Game 2. So this was the first time in Dryden's career when he played for the Habs in the playoffs that he actually wasn't starting. He would be the backup. Everyone remembers Ken Dryden in 73, 74, or should remember, that he took a year off to do law things because he was being underpaid, if you will. But yeah, that was shocking. But another Kitchener Ranger would actually come to Ken Dryden's aid, unknowingly. One Doug B. Riceborough, who hit a warm-up shot that went right off LaRock's head, and LaRock was too woozy to play. So they had to go with Dryden. And credit Ken Dryden. He played his heart out, and the Habs played good in front of him. Bob Gainey, the Conn Smythe winner. Habs win in 5. And of course, we all know Don Cherry's career with Boston ended. He would coach in Colorado. He had a chance to do with the Leafs, but he did the thing. He had a verbal handshake agreement with the Colorado team, and basically he said that his mother taught him that you can't go back on your word, and he couldn't go back on his word, even though he could have been Leafs coach and maybe GM. Who knows? But anyway, Don Cherry lasted 1 bad year in Colorado. Basically, the owners were not willing to give him a goalie because Hardy Astrom had basically suffered since that big win for the Rangers in 78 against the Habs in the Forum. So yeah, and Colorado ended up last place in the NHL. Sadly, though, they lost the number 1 pick to Montreal because of a trade a couple years prior, and Montreal could have taken Dennis Savard, but they took Doug Wickenheiser. It's like, what the hell? And that ended Don Cherry's coaching career. He would be a pundit for many years until he got himself booted because of his comments about the poppies and all that. Now, I'm not defending Don Cherry's comments, but basically he is right in a sense that all Canadians should really wear a poppy to remember the sacrifices the men and women do. I mean, a lot of white Canadians don't even do that. So, yeah, like, I get his point, but he just said it in such a way that he was blaming foreigners and all that with the milk and honey stuff. And sadly, though, he was axed. I think at his age he was going to be axed anyway, so might as well axe him now. But anyway, Don Cherry really let that down. And that would mean the last time Boston would be sunk by a too many men in the ice call. 2010, in their game 7 against the Flyers, they actually had too many men in the ice call that got the Flyers to win the game and gone to the Stanley Cup semifinals. So, our imitates life. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Adieu.